So today we are going to look at Jeremy Mayfield's career and later suspensions from NASCAR. So for gameplay, I don't have a game that has Mayfield in it that I have a way of recording. So I'm going to be using rFactor 2 and along with that a mod that I'll link in the description, but use at your own risk as always with mods. In 1993 at the Mellow Yellow 500 at Charlotte, Jeremy Mayfield made his NASCAR Cup Series debut for Sadler Brothers Racing. He started 30th and ultimately finished 29th. In 1994, he would attempt 26 of the 31 races, starting the season with Sadler Brothers Racing before moving to Taylor Racing for 4 races, and then attempting the remaining 15 races with Cale Yarborough Motorsports. Mayfield did not qualify for 7 races with the best finish of 19th at Rockingham. In 1995, Mayfield returned to Cale Yarborough Motorsports in the 98 Ford, attempting every race. Mayfield would once again struggle with qualifying as he failed to qualify for 4 races. He had a best finish of 8th at Pocono. Mayfield would start in 1996 in the 98 again, picking up 2 top 5s. He would join Cranfuss Haas Racing in the 37 Ford for the remaining 8 races with a best of 15th at Dover. He also failed to qualify for the final race at Atlanta to go along with his 6 finishes of 28th or worse. In 1997, Mayfield returned to the 37 Ford and had his best season so far, picking up 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s, but also had 11 finishes of 23rd or worse. In 1998, Jeremy Mayfield remained with the team, but the team had an identity change as Carl Haas sold his interest in the team to Roger Penske, and the team was renamed Cranfuss Penske, and he would drive in the 12 Ford. Mayfield continued to improve, picking up his first career win at Pocono. He would finish the 1998 season with 1 win, 12 top 5s, and 16 top 10s, with only 2 DNFs. He would finish 7th in the points standings. 1999 was a step backwards for Mayfield, who failed to win a race and only managed 5 top 5s and 12 top 10s. In 2000, Mayfield would pick up wins at Auto Club and Pocono. Mayfield's win at Pocono came as a result of him bumping Dale Earnhardt in the final corner and using Earnhardt's line, "rattle his cage." Mayfield suffered a concussion in practice for the Brickyard 400 and would miss that race and the following race. Mayfield would also add 6 top 5s, 12 top 10s, to along with his 4 poles. He also led the most laps of his career this season at 850. 2001 would be Mayfield's final season at Penske. Mayfield would be released following the Protection 1 400 at Kansas. Rusty Wallace said the two didn't quite see head-to-head as teammates and that the two had feuded several times. It was also rumored that Jeremy Mayfield and Roger Penske didn't get along. It has been speculated that he was trying to get out of his contract to be able to sign elsewhere. He would take another step back, though, with 0 wins, 5 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. In 2002, Mayfield signed on to Evernham Motorsports to replace Casey Atwood in the number 19 Dodge. Mayfield only managed 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s in his first season with Evernham. 2003 was a better year for Mayfield as he picked up 4 top 5s and 12 top 10s and 1 pole. In 2004, Mayfield would return to victory lane for the first time since 2000, winning at Richmond and securing a spot in the inaugural chase for the Nextel Cup. Mayfield and the 19 team would finish the season 10th in points. This was Mayfield's first top 10 points finish since 1998 when he finished 7th. Mayfield would finish 2004 with 1 win, 5 top 5s, 13 top 10s, and 2 poles. 2005, Mayfield would once again find victory lane as he scored the final win of his career at Michigan, stretching his fuel mileage, and once again boosting him high enough in points to get into the chase. Mayfield finished 2005 with 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 9 top 10s on his way to a 9th place points finish. Mayfield would return to Evernham for one final season. However, Mayfield and the 19 team struggled in 2006, and Mayfield didn't last a season. He was released in August after 21 of the 36 races. Bill Elliott was in the car for Watkins Glen, Mayfield dropping out of the top 35 in owners' points was cited as the reasoning. Ray Evernham said, quote, "This team has a great deal of potential and we just haven't met the expectations this year. We will do whatever we need to get this car in the show for Watkins Glen. It's important to our sponsors and it's important to this team. Having Bill in the driver's seat gives us this guarantee," end quote. The guarantee Evernham is referencing is Bill Elliott could have used a champion's provisional had the team failed to qualify on time. The team initially said no long-term decision on Mayfield had been made, but Evernham later confirmed Mayfield was released after Mayfield made comments that Evernham was rarely at the track and that the 19 car's problem stemmed from Evernham's lack of attention as an owner due to his close personal relationship with Evernham's development driver, Aaron Crocker. Evernham and Crocker were engaged in an affair and eventually married. Evernham also had this to say on replacing Mayfield. Quote, "The decision was primarily made based on the performance of the car and not being able to get it any better. In fact, it was getting worse," end quote. Mayfield filed a lawsuit against Evernham Motorsports for his termination. Mayfield attempted the final 2 races of the season with Phoenix Racing in the 09 car. He failed to qualify for the first race and then finished 42nd in the last race. He ended 2006 with 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, and 0 poles. It's important to note that despite Mayfield's claims, his teammate Casey Kane had 6 wins, 12 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and 6 poles in 2006. Mayfield signed with Bill Davis Racing to drive the 36 Camry for the 2007 season. The team struggled just to qualify. They failed to qualify for 18 of the 31 races Mayfield attempted with the team. In the 13 races Mayfield did run, he had a best finish of just 22nd at Kansas. Mayfield would later join Haas CNC for the remaining 4 races in the 66 Chevy. He had a best finish of 22nd at Texas. Mayfield returned to Haas CNC, but in the 70 Chevy in 2008, he ran the first 7 races of the season with a best finish of 16th at Las Vegas. 5 of the other 7 races he finished 30th or worse. Mayfield also ran 1 race for Chip Ganassi Racing in the 40 Dodge and finished 25th at Dover. Mayfield, being unable to find a ride for the 2009 season, formed his own team, Mayfield Motorsports, and the 41 Toyota. The team struggled and failed to qualify with Mayfield 6 times in 11 races. Of the 5 races Mayfield did run, his best finish was 32nd at Talladega. On May 9th, 2009, the same day that Mayfield failed to qualify for the race at Darlington, NASCAR announced that Mayfield had been suspended indefinitely for failing a drug test. NASCAR withheld what drug that was found positive as a result of Mayfield's drug test, with Dr. David Black of Aegis Science Corporation claiming it was NASCAR's policy to publicly withhold the substance, but said it was, quote, "a drug of concern," end quote. Mayfield responded with, quote, "I believe that the combination of a prescribed medicine and an over-the-counter medicine reacted together and resulted in a positive drug test. My doctor and I are working with both NASCAR consultant Dr. David Black and NASCAR to resolve this matter," end quote. Dr. Black disputed this, stating, quote, "What we have is a clear violation of policy. In many years of experience, I have never seen a violation like this due to the combination of over-the-counter or prescription products," end quote. Mayfield said that he had taken 2 tablets of Claritin D, along with Adderall for his attention deficit disorder, and that he had never used any illegal drugs. Some people have claimed that this was all because NASCAR didn't want to hurt Claritin, who was at the time a sponsor for Carl Edwards. NASCAR offered Mayfield the opportunity to enter NASCAR's Road to Recovery program, but Mayfield refused to enter the program as he said it wasn't right and instead tried to fight it out in court and said he wasn't going to admit to anything he didn't do. Mayfield claims, quote, "As soon as we started to fight back, that's when it turned into meth. It was amphetamines, 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 and then as soon as we got an attorney, it was methamphetamines," end quote. Mayfield argued that his B sample was tested without his permission and that his B sample should have been tested in an independent lab instead of the same lab that tested his A sample. NASCAR stated that Mayfield failed to notify them he was on Adderall or Claritin D until after the positive test. They also pointed out that Mayfield's prescription for Adderall came from, quote, Vitaly Anti-Aging Center and Medical Spa, end quote, and not Mayfield's primary physician. However, Mayfield disputed this. Mayfield Motorsports continued to run with Jeremy Mayfield's wife, Shayna, as the owner, and J.J. Yaley as the driver. On May 16th, Mayfield, in violation of his suspension, arrived at Charlotte Motor Speedway and told reporters, quote, I don't need to go to rehab because I don't have a problem, end quote. On May 29th, Mayfield filed for a temporary restraining order allowing him to race while his case was being heard, but the request was denied. During the hearing, NASCAR attorney Paul Hendricks said the substance was, quote, dangerous, illegal, banned substance, end quote. NASCAR filed a countersuit on June 5th for breach of contract for racing while breaking the substance abuse policy, and in reference to side effects of the drug in question, stated, quote, excessive aggression or exaggerated self-confidence, as well as numerous other physical and mental side effects detrimental to the health and safety of a stock car driver, end quote. On June 9, 2009, it was reported that Mayfield had tested positive for methamphetamines after a test from the Richmond race, as part of NASCAR's random drug screening where 4 to 8 drivers are randomly chosen from the Cup Series to take a drug test at each race. Mayfield argued that his B sample was tested without his permission and that his B sample should have been tested at an independent lab instead of the same lab that tested his A sample. On July 1st, a judge issued a temporary injunction lifting Mayfield's suspension, but Mayfield still didn't race due to lack of sponsorship. Mayfield had this to say in reference to his lifted suspension, quote, the truth came out. That's what it's all about, end quote. The judge's decision was that the harm to Mayfield was more substantial than the harm to NASCAR. The judge also stated that Mayfield was subject to whatever drug testing NASCAR deemed fit. On July 6th, Mayfield was scheduled for another drug test by NASCAR, but it was reported that Mayfield said he couldn't find the lab. Mayfield denies this, though. NASCAR sent testers to Mayfield's house to conduct the test. Mayfield performed the test and then went to an independent test at LabCorp. NASCAR said he had failed the test. Mayfield reportedly presented a report from LabCorp saying he hadn't failed the test. Mayfield said he knew NASCAR was going to say he failed the test, and that's why he went to LabCorp. Jeremy Mayfield's stepmother, Lisa, testified that she had seen him use methamphetamines at least 30 times from 1998 to 2005. That she also stated he cooked it. Jeremy Mayfield said she only testified for NASCAR because NASCAR had paid her and that he had cut her off financially after his father's death in 2007, which he also blamed on his stepmother, Lisa, for. 2 separate investigations found that the death of Jeremy Mayfield's father was a suicide. Mayfield said, quote, I don't trust anything NASCAR does. Anything Dr. Black does. Never have, never will, end quote. And in reference to his stepmother said, quote, and they picked the wrong woman to use against me because that expletive is trash and has got nothing on me but lies, end quote. There's some dispute over the amount of methamphetamine that NASCAR claims was in Mayfield's system. Some say if he had that much, he would be dead. Other experts say it's just signs of a chronic abuser. In 2011, police had worked with an informant that said Mayfield and about 4 others would break into businesses stealing merchandise, and that it had been going on for about a year. The informant had specific details of the break-ins. The informant reportedly told police that Mayfield did this to support his drug habit and that he used methamphetamines regularly. In November 2011, police executed a search warrant on Mayfield's property, and there was reportedly $100,000 in stolen merchandise and 1.5 grams of methamphetamine divided amongst half a dozen baggies found in a gun safe. Mayfield was initially charged with just the drug possession, and as a result of it being a felony, the police also seized around 50 guns and checked to make sure none were stolen. I haven't been able to find any evidence to confirm whether any were or not. The warrant stated that Mayfield allegedly stole from Fitz Motorsports and Red Bull Racing Team. After executing the warrant, police did confirm that there was audio-video equipment that belonged to Red Bull and was stolen in February. In a 2014 interview with Bob Pockrass, Mayfield claimed that police took 30 items from him that were his, that they weren't looking for, that never made it into evidence, and that the police just took for themselves. It was also reported that Mayfield was $82,000 behind in property taxes and was one step away from foreclosure. In January 2014, a plea deal was reached with Mayfield being convicted of 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia and 1 count possession of stolen goods. Mayfield was sentenced to 45 days of jail suspended and 18 months of unsupervised probation. He was ordered to pay $88,124.41 in restitution, along with $1,100 in court costs. District Attorney James Gaither Jr. said, quote, "The convictions today in the state of North Carolina versus Jeremy Mayfield were based on a number of factors, including conversations with the victims and law enforcement in this case, the unavailability of the state's key witness due to his death, and the likely result should these cases have been presented to a jury without this witness. I would like to commend law enforcement on their investigation and feel that this result is the best interest of justice for our victims and our community." End quote. Mayfield said, quote, "I'm not sure what we're going to do now. We're going to wake up tomorrow morning and figure that out. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. In some way I want to race. I'm not sure what way yet. I love racing. That is what I love to do. What I'd like to do. I'm just not sure to what extent." End quote. Mayfield also said it was a tough decision. He didn't want to plead to anything. He took the plea deal to not have to take a chance with a jury trial and get someone that was, quote, "a Mayfield hater," end quote, and that 3 misdemeanors were better than 22 felonies. Mayfield hasn't raced in any national series since his 2009 suspension from NASCAR. He has raced on dirt tracks in the Carolinas and Georgia. Mayfield finished his NASCAR Cup career with 5 wins, 48 top 5s, 96 top 10s, 9 poles, 2,451 laps led, and an average finish of 21.9 and 433 starts. So now, this is usually the part of the video where I give my opinion, but I'm not going to do that this time. This video is meant for informative purposes, not me expressing my opinion. This is a he said, NASCAR said type of situation. I'm not going to give my opinion on something that may put NASCAR, or much more importantly, Jeremy Mayfield, in a bad light without knowing all the details. I spent several hours doing research on this video, as I do with any video like this, and feel I have gotten as much information as I think I could, but I still don't know everything that happened. We may never know what truly happened. There's only one person that actually knows everything that happened, and that's Jeremy Mayfield. NASCAR has since changed their policy where if a driver's A sample comes back positive, the driver can have their own experts come in and observe the lab that NASCAR contracts with to test their B sample. I will say this, however, NASCAR does need to have a substance abuse policy as drivers are in control of 3,500-pound stock cars, and NASCAR has an obligation to not only protect its competitors, but also, more importantly, its fans. Whether the current policy is right or not is not for me to say, however. Thanks for watching, and until next time, so long, everybody. Next time, so long.
Outside. Outside. All clear. Outside. Blue ride inside. Outside.